Hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
And Marianne behind the camera.
And welcome to another episode of Cavalcade Food. And today, Mare, we are not waffling because we love waffles, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And so we're going to make some today, but not traditional waffles as we sort of think about it. We're going to make gingerbread waffles. Because, one, I love gingerbread and ginger things in general, and this is something that you can certainly make as a breakfast waffle, or, Marianne, you know what, you can also make it as a dessert waffle. Now, I don't know, Marianne, when we were kids, if you ever remember having waffles with ice cream, or like an ice cream kind of a sandwich made with waffles. Is that ringing a bell?
No.
Okay. Well, I do. And so you could certainly serve this for dessert. You could have this for breakfast anytime, actually. So we're going to fire up one of our vintage waffle makers, which I'll show you in a minute, and put this waffle recipe together. Okay, so we're going to start with putting our dry ingredients together here. Mare, I've got the old flour sifter. That's right. This is the hand crank one. Now, if you wanted to, you don't have a flour sifter, that's fine. You can use something like this, like a sieve, okay? Will work also as well. But I like to use this, and since I have one, we're using it. So what I'm going to do, Mare, is I'm going to we've got 1.5 cups of flour there, all right? And this is all-purpose flour, and we're going to just put that in the sifter. Now, normally you don't really have to sift. Most flours are pre-sifted, and it's not necessary to sift. But I'm using the sifter because I'm also going to incorporate some other dry ingredients, and I want it to be mixed well into the flour. We have, of course, these are gingerbread waffles. So I've got a teaspoon of ginger. I have got a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And you know where the recipe is for our food friends, Mare?
Below the description?
Yes,
under the video?
Below the video in the description. And we're going to use our sifter here as a way to kind of sift all those things together. All right? Now we're just going to set the dries aside. And over here, I got 3 eggs, Mare. And I'm going to, let me grab a whisk, and we're going to beat these. If you have an egg beater, you could certainly use one. You know, I have 2 or 3 or 10, but I didn't get one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just use the whisk, and we're going to beat these eggs until they're light. And when I say light, that really refers to sort of the color, and we want to get a little air into them. You'll start to see some bubbles here. You see that?
Yep.
That's just what I want right there. All right. Now, to that, Mare, I'm going to add, this is 1/4 cup of sugar. And then I've got 1/2 cup of molasses. Let me get a spatula. And we are going to put that's going to give us that nice, rich, kind of gingerbread flavor, the molasses. I use this measuring cup. This is called a Wonder Cup. And A lot of people over the years have asked me about this, and I use this when I'm measuring things like molasses and honey and peanut butter and mayonnaise and sour cream, okay, that kind of stuff, because it's nice that you can just, figure out how much you need and then just push it in, and it's just less of a mess. Okay, so we had a half a cup of molasses. I have got a cup of sour milk here, Mare. This is regular whole milk that I added 1 tablespoon of white vinegar to. Gave it a stir around. You let it sit about 10 minutes, and it turns it sour. Okay? And you could use buttermilk if you didn't have sour milk. It would be a fine substitution.
Could you use lemon juice instead of vinegar?
You absolutely could, yes. Fresh would be best.
Yeah.
The concentrated stuff doesn't seem to do it, and it has a weird flavor, if you ask me. Okay, and then I've got 1/3 of a cup of oil here, okay? And this is just vegetable oil. We're going to put that in there. And now we're going to stir all this together. Look at that molasses. That's the thick part. And you'll feel it kind of dissolve in the liquid. We want to mix in that sugar as well. I love that smell. Okay, now what we're going to do is, remember our dry ingredients?
Yep.
Now we're going to add to our dry ingredients the wet. Like so. And we're going to mix that around. We just want to get that, well, I may just use the whisk. You don't want to overmix, but you just want to get that well incorporated here. Can you see the color of that, Mare?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Now, I'm going to set that aside for a minute so that I can show our food friends the waffle iron that we're going to use. How about that? Isn't that a beaut?
Yes.
This is a beautiful Toastmaster waffle iron from the mid-1950s. And you can see it's round, obviously. And we're going to use this. I plugged it in just before we started, so to get it good and hot. Now, this was made, Marianne, in the days before non-stick. So we are going to put a little oil on the plates here before we put our batter in. All right? So we'll be back and start cooking our waffles. What I'm going to do is I've got a little oil here in this cup, and we are just going to brush a little oil. Now, you could use, the spray, right?
Yes.
But I have to tell you, it makes a heck of a mess because, yeah, it gets on the waffle iron, and you know what else?
Everything.
That's right. It gets on everything else. The counter, the outside of the waffle iron, the cutting board, basically everything. At least I can't seem to do it in a way that doesn't make a total mess. All right, so now I'm going to ladle on some batter here. Oh, I love to hear that sizzle. Okay. And we're going to close it down and let it start doing its thing. Probably will take 4 to 6 minutes. I'm going to estimate to cook that waffle, and then we will come back. All right, honey. Well, here's our last one in the waffle iron. Give it another second here. Check this out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? That's how many we got out of this batch. Now, what I like to do is I like to take the waffle off the iron and put it on this rack. Let me unplug this. We'll let our waffle iron cool down. It is hot, hot, hot. Because this allows some air circulation as the waffle cools off a little bit, Mare. If you just keep stacking them on top, the steam from the waffles come up and they keep the waffles soft. But we like the waffles with a little crisp, don't we?
Yes.
So we're going to just keep that there and until it cools off a little bit, and then we'll add it to the stack. So here's one. Look at that, Mare. Now, I'm going to suggest there's a couple ways to go about this. I'm going to cut this in half. And you can see the interior here. Now, again, you can serve this for breakfast or for dessert. If we're serving it for breakfast, then I might doll it up like this. Might put a little butter on there. Okay. We'll let that butter melt a little bit. Then, if we're serving it for dessert, I might do a little something like this. Take a little ice cream of your choice. This happens to be butter pecan. And put that on there. And we'll put a little syrup. Or syrup, as our brother calls it, on there. What do you think of that?
Looks good.
Doesn't look awful, does it?
No.
Now, let's bring this up. I'm going to try the breakfast version. You know what else would be good on this? Apple butter. You know, you think of apples. Apple butter is sort of spiced a little bit.
Yeah.
Goes great with things like ginger and molasses. Oh, wow. What can I say? It's a gingerbread waffle, Mare. Okay? You're getting that ginger flavor. Of course, the butter and maple syrup ain't bad either. But you've got the ginger flavor, a slight crisp crunch. It's very tender on the inside. Let me do this. Let's see if we can show our friends the interior of that. Can you see that, Toots?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Got as
talking
close
about.
as I could.
And of course, I love the molasses flavor. This ice cream is sort of melting on the waffle. And yeah, I'll take this for dessert. Thank you very much. Something about the crispy, warm waffle and the creamy, sweet ice cream. You know who loved butter pecan ice cream? Do you remember?
Dad.
Dad. He loved it. Anyways.
And you could make those gingerbread waffles for Christmas Day breakfast or brunch.
Honey, that's a great idea.
Or make them for dessert for after dinner.
Yeah.
With ice cream.
Very because gingerbread and Christmas sort of go together, don't they?
Yeah.
That's a great idea, Mare. So, whenever you want to make these.
Any time of the year.
Any time of the year, but like Marianne suggested, they would be very special at Christmas time. I think whoever you make these for will really like them, if they like gingerbread. And so, anyways, can I just thank my kid sister for working that camera today?
You're welcome.
And Marianne will say thank you to our food friends for watching and hanging out with us. Thank you. And again, the recipe is below the description. Wouldn't be right, Mare, if we left without giving them the website. Let them have it.
Cavalcadefood.com.
That is the place to go. It will connect you to a lot of the Cavalcade of Food videos, as well as Always Analog, which is my other YouTube channel for those of you who are into pens, pencils, typewriters, and other analog technology of communication. And my Saturday morning radio program, Cavalcade Radio Hour. There's a link where you can listen live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I hope spring has sprung in your neck of the woods. It certainly has here in Michigan. It's just beautiful. And we'll see you again real soon here on Cavalcade of Food. Bye, everybody.
Bye.